welcome to the latest edition of the RH10 Fitness News. The kind of responses to the Q&A thing that we fired out last week, there's been lots of really interesting feedback, lots of questions asked, an overwhelming amount of response flying in, and this is going to be a slightly longer form video, so maybe when you're on that really busy Saturday night and you've got nothing else to do, you can watch me and Rob chat for about 15-20 minutes. But we want to get back to you with some answers and kind of things to think about with regards to some of the questions that you guys fired in. We've had lots of different bits and pieces that kind of can be bolted together into a few different categories. So Rob and I have gone through and tried to do that to make things happen, so that we're not answering the same question 4 times in 3 different ways. We're trying to make this as concise as we possibly can. Kicking things off, had some really cool questions about how our coaching development pathway works, which is a really nice question to be asked, because when I started coaching, that wasn't a thing.
No.
When I started at Second City up in Birmingham, and this was really normal, I went away and did my level 1 because I wanted to do my level 1. And then I watched a lot of classes and eventually was put in front. It actually happened for me because we had some staff sickness at the time, and I was chucked in front of a group of people. How ready I was for that, looking back, I don't know, but that first experience for me, and then the hundreds of hours I've done since then, working with some of the cool people that I've worked with on my journey, have led me to be the coach that I am now, which is a long way from a finished product, but we're getting closer. If you can ever be a finished product of a coach, I guess.
No, endless pursuit of excellence.
You've ripped that.
Word, isn't it?
Yeah, you've stolen that from somewhere. I then started coaching, and I went from doing a couple of hours a week to more and more and more, and eventually went full time. But I probably wasn't anywhere near the level of coach that I now would be happy with until I'd been there for about a year, because it's just like learning to do a new movement. You need to do a certain number of reps, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You don't get to go on a course or do enough CrossFit to be good at coaching. Like, that's another misnomer that I fell in. I actually put off learning to coach for a full year because I didn't feel I knew enough about CrossFit. But actually, the movements and bits that we do in classes are fairly learnable fairly quickly if you want to. The challenge is that teaching and learning bit, that technical term, that pedagogy of how do people learn, how can we best get them to understand what they need to do, and how do we move them forward. Don't know how your path looked compared to mine.
Almost the same. I had a little bit of a different background in fitness compared to you, I think. I was doing PT at the time, found this thing called CrossFit on YouTube. It looked cool. I thought, I'd like to do this. Paid for my own level 1. Managed to find some work in the CrossFit gym. Again, much the same though. Was I ready? No. I was a coach, I could do things. It was very much as we said, an endless pursuit of gaining this experience through hours after hours of doing this thing that makes us the coaches that we are today, and that's still not a finished product. It's always going to be an endless thing that we keep striving to achieve.
So then obviously I opened RH10, and it was a case of, well, you know, it's just me at the start, and then Rob came on, and even when Rob came on, Rob wasn't the coach that I wanted Rob to be. Like, I had very strong visions about how CrossFit could and should be coached, so that everyone walks away from an hour feeling like they've achieved something. And we have a lot of policies and procedures that we put in place to make sure that happens. It's not an accident, the stuff that happens in front of you. So how do I then make that a thing that everyone that coaches here can live by? Well, we wrote our coaching development pathway, which I'm actually really proud of, and we've shared with a few other gyms, because I think it's something that's really important around professionalising this art of coaching. It's a 4-step process for us, and it's written out in quite a lengthy document. We've got diagrams, and there's all sorts of bits and pieces to this.
Flow charts. Ooh. There's no pie charts yet, but there's some flow charts.
We could get a pie chart in here. It sets out basically that there's a 4-step process, and we start with a whole bunch of shadowing where, well, like you're about to see Tia do, and as you've seen Tim and Lara do, you watch classes, sometimes with one of me or Rob, or sometimes you watch Rob or I coach, and we try and share some key lessons out of those sessions each time. We've got a little like, hey, these are the things I want to be worrying about for the first 4 hours that you coach, and then here are the next 4 things I want to worry about for the next 4 hours that you shadow a class. So we're looking at workout stimuluses and movement patterns and progressions and seeing and correcting movement and group coaching and incidental learning and all these bits and pieces that we try to distill down into an 18-hour shadowing process before we put you anywhere near some kind of position of responsibility. It's 18 hours of watching, debriefing, learning, doing, discussing why we do things, and it feeds in really nicely with the rest of us that are on staff doing our weekly feedback sessions as well, which is really cool. At some point in that 18 hours, we stop and do a review, and then we do another review at the end of those 18 hours. And if Rob and I are seeing the kind of things that we think lead to an RH10 coach, and there's some potential here, then we'll send someone on their level 1. Only once they've got 18 hours of talking about coaching and watching coaching under their belt. Once they go on their level 1, they come back and we do a whole nother 18 hours of, what's the term, Rob? Can you remember? Supported coaching.
Supported coaching.
Where, you know, Tim started taking bits of classes at some point. He started taking some gymnastics bits, and he started taking some barbell bits, and then he started taking more of it. And then at some point, in that 18 hours, Tim went, I'm ready for a full hour here. And we had another member of staff stood on the sidelines ready to jump in case the timeline went wrong or things weren't beautiful or, you know, whatever. Like, it's hard sometimes running that hour. Sometimes I get very aware that I'm going to miss that 60-minute slot unless I change some things. And when you're starting out, having someone on the sidelines that can jump in and go, right, now I've got 4 minutes to get this workout started is really, really handy. But we do another 18 hours, right? And then with another 2 reviews under their belt, if those 18 hours are showing that there's a standard of coaching that we want to see when we walk into the gym, then we might put someone in front of a class. And that's the start, right? Because from there it's
never ending.
It's that endless pursuit,
It's
right?
that endless pursuit that we talked about. You can always continue to develop yourself. Like, there's no standard where we just suddenly hit and then stop. We continue to develop, learn new things, add new things, find things or the best ways of doing this that makes us better coaches. Sometimes those things might be a little bit wrong, and sometimes those things might be great, and we keep doing them. That is that endless pursuit.
We've put Ben through his gymnastics cert and his level 2. We're looking to get Rob on his level 3. That's a bit of a meaty one when you get round to that. Rob and I did our pelvic floor course. And it's not just external courses, it's that internal review. You know, we do staff meetings. Everyone is expected to receive feedback and give feedback once a week on the class they did and the class they taught. So we're constantly chasing this incredible level of engagement, learning, sharing, teaching. When we're in front of you guys for an hour, I don't think there's ever been a time where it's a throwing together and hope for the best affair, because it doesn't lead to what I hope RH10 Fitness is becoming or has become. Yeah. If this is something that interests you, like, come chat to us. It's kind of how this stuff happens. Sometimes we have potential room for someone to come onto staff, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we're looking for certain things around how much of the timetable we're looking to add to or change around or do whatever. So there's no guaranteed things are going to be a certain fit, but sometimes things do click together. But always happy to spend an hour or 2 sat watching Rob coach and chatting to one of you guys if that's something you want to do. Like, what we do isn't a secret, it's just, well, it should be a profession, right? That's why Rob's full time and we pay the staff, because I want people to be able to take it seriously and do it for an actual job rather than a part-time gig where they've got something else they have to worry about in their day job. So yeah, if you want us to lift the lid a little bit, you're welcome to reach out and organise that. What else have we had, Rob? Open gym, weightlifting, gymnastics classes. Can we do lots of things on the timetable? Can we do lots of things on the timetable?
We can do lots of things on the timetable. Since the doors opened, this gym has continuously added more things to the timetable. I think we've grown over 100% in terms of slots that we offer you to train. As we grow get bigger, get fuller, we are adding more times to these timetables. So it's a constantly evolving timetable. The things we then need to think about, what things are most important that we are adding. At the top end, we are a coach facility, so the things that we add to this gym are going to be coach slots. Open gym is currently not a priority or on the top of that list of things. If we're going to add slots, then those slots will be coach slots. We are adding more slots. Things are going to happen in the future where we add more things. Adding more open gym would run the risk of potentially removing those coach slots, which at the end of the day, that's what we're here for, that's what we're paying for, that's what we are here to get. We're here to be coached. Having said that, we've ensured since the beginning that there's 15 minutes either side of every class, there's 30-minute gap in the evening, there are times for you to come in a little bit early, stay a little bit afterwards and do those extra things. If you want to do a bit of mobility, a bit of prehab, and I know plenty of you do that, that's great. Comp train extras, we used to write them up on the board, an absolute load, we used to recommend that you do these things. The uptake wasn't necessarily there, so it did disappear for a while. This week we have reintroduced it. It is in your workout notes in Sugar Wad. So if you want to do those optional extras that is programmed, it is there for you to do. But it's in those 15 sort of minute gaps each side of every class. The comp train extras are programmed in a way that you can get them done in 15 minutes. Yeah, you agree?
Yeah.
Again, we've got a half-hour gap in the evening. Those times to get those options. Getting stronger, fitter, better, faster, more mobile, you will get more bang for your buck if you're being coached through these shapes, positions, ensuring that you are doing the most optimal way of doing these things. Coming to open gym might run the risk where that might not happen.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. Open gym is never going to be our priority because you will get better faster when you're coached. Also, honest conversation with yourself, why are you coming here? What's the goal? The goal is to get fitter, enjoy life, be able to do some fun things when you're in the gym. Turning up 3 times a week to a coach class is going to get you that. If your goal is to go to the CrossFit Games, you probably need to have a chat with me or Rob pretty urgently because you're probably not doing enough in any way, shape or form. So, why are you doing those extras? What's the purpose? Maybe have a chat with one of us about where you're trying to get to with this so that we can better guide you. But open gym will never be our priority because we want to get you in where we can coach you and make you better faster. Open gym is never going to be an extra freebie on the side because the kit's still going to take the wear and tear, but I'd rather you guys are coming in and getting coached because we can make you better quicker. So yes, as you said, the timetable is going to continue to grow and evolve, but we're always going to focus on that coach input because the rate of progress is so much faster, right? Yeah, for sure.
Extra weightlifting gymnastics classes, one of the things thrown about a little bit. This is purely dependent on availability. Tim has a very tight schedule, as you know. He works elsewhere as a full-time gymnastics coach, so those 2 slots where we put just specific gymnastics classes in those areas, that's where they are for that reason. We would love to add more things. It currently just doesn't fit into that timetable. Same with weightlifting. The timetable is changing, so Thursday may look different at some point in the future. So things might change around there, but we know from CrossFit programming in general that you are going to get exposed to enough weightlifting week on week without having to do that individual weightlifting class. The individual weightlifting class is there for you to practice these things in more detail, get a little bit stronger, better at those movements. If we had space currently to add those things or do more weightlifting classes, then we would. It may be a thing in the future.
Dropping all the big figures, aren't you there, Rob? Scaling options in workouts, why do we pick what we pick doing different things? There are probably 1,000 different ways that we can get people upside down or working towards a pull-up or whatever else. And there are a lot of things that are seen, in other gyms or on the internet or whatever else. Rob and I have been doing this for a very long time. Tim's been doing this for a very long time. Ben's been doing this for a very long time. Lara's worked in physio for a very long time. There are a lot of things that we have kind of up our sleeve. I have this ball of knowledge that I'm kind of using when I'm coaching. I'm not using all of it all the time, obviously. There are, let's take for example handstands, right? That pike handstand push-up option works great when we're doing handstand push-ups and nothing else. The problem with that pike handstand push-up in a Metcon piece, in a conditioning piece, is that finding those shapes to expose you to something that has actual carryover to a handstand push-up is really hard to do under any kind of intensity or speed, is really hard to do when someone's not there to tell you to walk back a little bit further, push your bum a little bit higher, straighten your legs out a little bit. So if in a Metcon the goal is to get fitter, i.e. do more work in a certain amount of time, then choosing options that allow people to do work without sending them backwards because they're learning a different pattern is really, really important. So sometimes we might use different options when we're doing strength-based work in classes versus conditioning-based work in classes. We're never going to pick something that's not going to move you forward. In fact, our goal is to move you forward as fast as possible. Things like banded pull-ups and piped handstand push-ups under intensity can put you in positions that don't replicate the movement you're chasing. So sometimes they're just actually vastly inappropriate, even if they look quite a lot like the thing that we're chasing. Yeah. We don't want to be picking things to use as our progressions in a workout when we're working towards our pull-up or handstand push-up because it adds variance for the sake of variance. We want to pick things that move you towards, you know, your first handstand push-up, your first muscle up. We want to pick things that allow you to get better while also achieving some fitness. And there's a very delicate balance I think we run when we're coaching around giving people an opportunity to do enough fitness, allowing people to get better in the right way without something breaking down, which is really important. Like you wrote down here about mechanical consistency, intensity, right? Like, if it's not the right shape,
yeah,
it's not doing the right thing. And if you can't do that right shape under speed, it's even worse, right? Because then you're putting loads of reps that aren't actually moving you forward under your body. Anything else?
No, I think that covers that very well. Equipment in the gym. Some very cool fit suggestions here. Pegboard, rope climbs, or more ropes for rope climbs and stuff like that. Simple answer, to make these things work in a class of 12, we need more than one of those things. We need to be careful with things like storage, space, all those things. Are having a pegboard, is it going to be relevant to the classes we teach? The simple answer is probably not. It's a very cool, funky thing that we could have, and sure, I'd love to climb up a pegboard every now and then. It's probably not something that would just carry over well to classes. So, pegboard, probably not. More rowers, assault bikes, it's always in consideration. We currently feel we have a good amount of rowers. Yeah, good amount of rowers. There's a few rowers in the gym. Things like that. Adding assault bikes, again, comes a argument against space in the gym. Finding storage solutions, are they going to fit into the workouts we do? Things like that. Rope climbs. As much as we'd like to have 12, 15 foot ropes in the gym for a class, unfortunately, the ceiling is not strong enough to hold those 12, 15 foot ropes. So we might not have a ceiling left if we added those additions into the gym. So that's the simple answer there. Don't think there's anything else equipment-wise.
I think basically it's constant in review. We're not adding things because we don't want to add things. In order for those things to make sense, they need to get used in classes. If we've got one, it's kind of useless. Like the one bike and the one skier we've currently got are utilised less than if we have 4 of them, for sure. We are constantly looking to add bits to the gym. It's just about making sensible decisions about when and why they're added and being able to use those in classes for that to happen. Yeah. So it's not like it's not on our radar, it's just we need to do things in such a way that everyone gets some bang for their buck when we do so.
Yeah, and as you've seen over the last year, as we've grown, we've added lots and lots of things. More dumbbells, more kettlebells, more wall balls, more D-balls, sorry, we've just got a load of D-balls, more pull-up options, ring row stations, space in the gym. All these things have been constantly evolving as we've constantly evolved, so that hasn't just suddenly stopped. These things, as Sam said, is constantly reviewed. There will be more things added in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah, programming, more time on strength pieces in gymnastics for the WOD. We're enjoying it, good. Comp training rhythms and cycle at the moment. We're doing a few more strength bits before we work out. Programming is constantly under review. Like if Rob and I don't feel it's moving you guys, moving us forward, then we'll look to move it. I mean, Rob and I do, well, and Tim, Lara, every class, every day. Ben's in a class at least once a week. we're all doing the stuff. If we're not moving forwards doing it, we'll do something about it. I didn't get this fit by doing 14 different workouts a day. I got this fit turning up to coach classes and learning how to move better. So did my 40 minutes of work a day, went home, ate, slept, rinsed and repeat, and hey presto. 8 to 10 years later, all the skills and the strength start coming together a little bit. But it takes time. Like, you don't get fit and strong doing something for a week, a month, even a year. Like, it's
I wish we could do that. I wish I could do that. I wish I could suddenly grow a bar and clean jerk 200 kilos. That'd be amazing. But unfortunately not.
It's a slow process, guys. We'll keep an eye on the program. Providing it's moving people forwards, we'll probably leave it alone. If the programming doesn't fit with everyone trying to get better at moving more in less time, then we'll do something about it. But so far so good. I think with comp training doing all right for us.
Great.
We'll keep an eye on it.
That does relate a little bit. I think there's one note on spending more time doing those things pre-WOD and stuff like that, like spending more time doing gymnastics, spending more time doing strength pieces. Said it is programmed in the sense that we need to look at things like time management, like flow of the class, like which movements taking priority. You'll notice that we spend more times on certain things one day, maybe less times on that same thing another day, and it's just dependent on that workout, how long the WOD is, how short the WOD is. We take into account all those different things. If we could spend 20 minutes on each piece, then we would love to do that because we like talking about fitness. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things where every class we have to look at in minute detail and plan it out accordingly.
Yeah, we've got an hour to get you guys some really good fitness, and maybe spending 20 of those minutes practicing beach swings when actually today's workout is about carrying some heavy things around and doing some toes to bar. It's not the day to practice those intense toes to bar, but another day when maybe we had that workout last week, 100 calorie row, run a mile, 100 toes to bar. Toes to bar suddenly becomes a big priority in there, right? So it's just about acknowledging the stimulus of the workout for us and coaching you guys accordingly. Warm-ups, barbell warm-ups. Why do we spend so much time on an empty bar? Because I'm yet to walk into the gym and move the barbell perfectly when I turn up cold. So I'm going to keep doing my 100 reps on an empty bar, and when I eventually become Lou with his 200 kilo clean and jerk, then, well no, because I saw a video of him on Instagram playing with an empty bar this morning. Yeah. Positions are more important than almost anything else with Olympic weightlifting. If you're super strong but don't have those positions, you will not lift anywhere near as much weight as you could. And if you're not super strong and can't access those positions, then something terrible might happen. So fundamentally, being able to move the barbell beautifully is more important than anything else. So we're going to spend time on an empty bar, drilling those positions, because I'll tell you what, yesterday when I watched that clean and jerk partner workout, that power clean partner workout, barbells are moved beautifully, like stuff works. Like I'm standing there watching it going, yeah, okay, that's a gym of people that can move a barbell really beautifully, and that fills my soul with joy.
Yes, mine too.
Fundamentals, not in busy classes.
Yep, fine.
Seems reasonable.
Yes, we understand your causes of concern. We can understand why it's slightly annoying if we have maybe in those busy classes done fundamental in the corner, taking up some space. That's absolutely fine. We will endeavour to do our best to not do them in busy classes.
Yeah, it's not a promise that it won't ever happen. Like sometimes life works out that way, but we hear you and we don't disagree. Also the loose heat. We're now on loose heat number 3. I have a man who's coming in to potentially replace the toilet at this point.
I think it's going to be the whole toilet. Yeah, like that thing's not happy.
I can't tell you why. I don't need to go why, but we might be replacing the entire thing. There's going to be another video coming out in the next week or so, probably next week, around how do I get my first pull-up, push-up, questions around what skipping rope to use. We're going to want a moving camera for that. We're going to get Tim in probably. We're going to chat about some different options, some really easy things for you guys to start moving forward, so keep an eye out for that one. Otherwise, guys, any more questions, jump back on that link and we'll go again in a month's time. Boom. Toodles.